Okay, we're going to start a new project. We're going to do a tracing of this particular sign. I kind of picked it just because of the combination of primitive shapes and also some simplicity of it. So, and also along on the body, we're going to learn about some of the different anchor points. And so I'm going to close this and we can open up a new file, and it's going to be a horizontal 11 by 8.5 by 11. And first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to your file and place. And you can either download this particular sign or you can find a sign that you would like to trace. But for the most part, I think this is a good one because it has a good combination of shapes. And so anyway, so as you can see right here on the layers, we have layer 1, and this sign is a JPEG that I've placed. And what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you double click over here, and you can see here where you can change the opacity of it, and you can dim it that way. I'm going to do it 20. Let's see here. Okay. And then I'm going to click right here next to the eye icon. The eye icon turns off the layer, and this one locks it. So I'm going to lock it, and then I'm going to go down here, very much like in Photoshop, and I'm going to create a new layer. And this, now I'm going to be working on this new layer. I'm going to zoom in, and if you can remember from our last project, I'm going to hold down on a Mac, it's Option Shift, but on this it's going to be, or you can be Alt Shift on a PC, but I'm going to hold it, and it's going to draw out from the center, and I'm going to make this circle, and I'm going to fill it with black. You can see here that layer 2 is highlighted. And then I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I always like to start with my pen tool on a hard corner. So this, if I start right here, as opposed to being on a curve like this, it's going to start where you can have a nice right angle. So I'm going to click once, make an anchor point, click my second time, let go, and you can see where it makes a nice straight line right here. This is open anchor point, this one's closed. And if you hover over it, you can see this there's a little bit of, like, it looks like a little arrow. That means that right next to the pen tip, and that means that you can continue adding to it there. So I'm going to make another straight line here. I'm kind of evaluating. This is a straight line, and then I'm going to turn off the fill on this, and I'm going to make the fill none, and I'm going to make the line black. So that way it's a little easier for you to see. I'm still live here. I'm going to go to the middle of this arc, and I'm click and hold, and then I'm going to drag it out and see how it follows. I'm following that arc. Now, one thing you'll learn about these Bezier curves is once I made that one, the next place I click is going to mirror this angle. So I'm going to click here, and you can see a little bit of a mirror there. Now I know that from this point to here is a straight line. So I can just click and let go there. Same thing here. I can click and let go. And again, hard straight line, click and let go. Same thing here and here. And then I'm evaluating here straight to about here. And then I have a curve. And then this direction is going to change. So I want to click once. And I'm going to move this a little bit. I'm going to click once. I'm going to get the rest of this curve. And then the next click I make is going to be straight. Again, I can do another straight, another straight. So these anchor points are just following from point to point, and it fills with a perfectly straight line. Again, here, 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 and then I can complete it. All right. So there is the body of our crosswalk guy. Okay. Again, here I want to fill this with black. So there's the body. So, okay. Now, the crosswalks. Now I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to be on the same layer 2. This time I'm going to use a rectangle tool. And I'm going to make this rectangle that has, you can see a black fill, black line. This rectangle, it has a black fill and a black line. Okay. So then I want to do the next part, which is I want to make these rectangles that are crosswalks follow and be parallel to the diagonal of the diamond shaped sign. So if I take my direct select tool and I want to click on this, rectangle right here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off, or I'm going to take the stroke off of that. So then this time I'm going to click right on the edge. No stroke. And then now you can see these anchor points. And I'm going to click right on that and I'm going to drag it so it's parallel to the edge of that diamond shaped sign. Same thing over here. I'm going to drag it. And what I'm doing is I'm also holding down shift. So see this bottom line? It stays perfectly horizontal. So that's one less thing to worry about when you're dragging. Sometimes these things can get wacky on you. Okay, this time I'm going to do this right. I'm going to turn this line off. And then what I want to do is come in, I'm going to zoom in. And with this direct selection tool, you want to make sure that you select right on the line. That way these are all open. And I'm going to take the same thing, hold down shift and drag this so it's parallel. I'm going to command control 0 and then zoom back in. Same thing here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out again. And there is our crosswalk guy. All right, now that's layer 2. I'm going to add another layer. And also take this layer 3 and I'm going to drag it down below layer 2. If it'll go. Maybe I'll drag layer 2 above 3. Okay. Now I'm going to select 3 and I'm going to work on 3. This time I want to trace the sign, the diamond shaped sign. And this time I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to hold down Alt or Option. Make sure that I have this selected. I have this square rectangle selected. Hold down Alt and Shift, and that makes a square. I'm going to rotate it with the free transform tool. I hover over this corner and I'm going to hold down Shift, and when I rotate it, it constrains it to a 45-degree turn. All right, well that's looking pretty good, except for the color. I'm going to pick a nice color. I'm going to pick a nice sign color, which is bright yellow. Whoops. I want the line to be black. I want the fill to be yellow. And I want the stroke to be thicker, like really thick. All right. Now, I want this to go on layer 3. So I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to go to select layer 3 and I'm going to paste it and there it is, it's behind. So this is behind, this is on top. The other thing I want to do is I want to affect this with a filter of stylize of rounded corners. Let's see what this will get us. And I'm going to do just a little bit more. So filter, stylize, rounded corners. And I'm going to do 0.2. All right. So now the other thing that happened is there's a little bit of, and I'm going to turn these two off. See how there is a yellow, there's a space between each of the crosswalks. One trick around that is to take this figure, and I'm going to select that figure, and then I'm going to put on it a yellow line. And so the line of it, see here, oops, I want that to be yellow. And I'm also going to put that on the outside. And I'm going to make it larger. So this is the line will be on the outside. And also I need to bring it to the front. So I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And I want that to be on the outside. There we go. And it is thick, so I'm going to reduce the size till it's about a nice comfortable 4-point. Also, you see how it's cutting off that circle? I'm going to bring that to the front, Arrange, Object, Arrange, bring to front. And the other thing, let me turn off this. See how this sign has a double line? We're going to do something there too. So we're going to kind of do a trick for that. So anyway, I'm going to turn this back on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. And so basically I'm going to do a copy and a paste. And so there's a copy and a paste on that. And this one is going to have a fill of none. Oops. Keep that yellow. And then I'm going to have the fill of none. And then, so now I have a diamond shape on top of a diamond shape, but the top one is has no fill, and then it has a yellow line, and that yellow line is going to be a slightly bigger, so that way you get the effect looks like a double border. So I'll turn that off. There you see it. And then I'm going to do a file save, and I'm going to call this sign Del Nero, and I'm going to make sure it's a PDF, and I'm going to save this on my desktop just for the sake of. So there you have it. Oh, here we go. Save as PDF, and that's your demo.